demo isn't based on identity, right? Like I think so many comics build their, and so many people in general build their audiences based on identity. Because I've never built it like that, I've built it on flagrancy, right? I built it on, I'm going to say the fucked up jokes and have the fucked up takes. And I'm going to say that animals should die. I'm going to say global warming's good.
Yeah.
And the reality is jokes should deal with the worst and scariest things.
Yeah.
That's why we have humor. This like shit where you like make jokes about shit that everybody already agrees about, that comedy doesn't exist. That dies. Yeah. You will be forgotten.
The way I do comedy is just super vulnerable, super honest, tell you everything, and then hopefully tell some good story, put storytelling in it.
Yeah.
Your style is very different. I don't think I know much about, you're like Tasha a little bit, like we were talking about Daniel Tosh.
Yeah. I never thought that I was worth talking about until recently.
For real?
Yeah. I thought it was a very arrogant and like narcissistic thing for like comics that like had nothing to go up there and be like, today a weird thing happened to me.
Really?
And I was like, well, who the fuck are you?
Well, I don't have the ability to do what you do,
right.
or Burr and Chappelle.
I think you earn talking about your life. As I've gotten some more success in my career, I've started to try to make things more personal because I think it like is justified now.
So I started reading all these books about like storytelling and like understanding like 3-arc structure and all this kind of shit.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, maybe I can turn this into a story. And then I was like, I don't want anybody coming to the show to know that it's a story. Yeah, so like we had to we do IVF and everything. That's what the special is about. Like it's just the story of us trying to
There was
get
a
pregnant.
study.
Andrew Schulz is a different breed. So a couple of years back, I want to say it was maybe 2015 or even 16, he was on, what podcast was this? I don't remember what podcast, but I remember him sitting down somewhere in New York City, you know, just rambling about how Netflix is done and how, you know, YouTube is the way to go.
Nobody wants to listen to anybody talk for an hour. That's done. The reason why YouTube works so well for me is because I gave them clips in digestible form. If you say to somebody, yo, here's this person you never heard of, here's his hour of stand-up, they go, I ain't watching this fucking shit, fuck out of here. You know what I mean? If you say, yo, watch this clip, it's 2 minutes, you're gonna watch it, and then what does YouTube do? They pop up another one of my clips. You're like, I watched that one. And then 2 hours later, you stop watching. And that's where I get people, right? And that's where Netflix is gonna have a tough time competing.
They chopped there, they only have 15 minutes.
I wonder where they got that idea. I wonder where they got the idea of a micro special from. That's whatever, it is what it is. I don't care, I don't mind. All I'm saying is, it's gonna be tough for Netflix because the value in Netflix was always exclusivity. There wasn't a lot. So when Netflix came out with a special, you're like, it must be good because there's not a lot, right? It's like Jordans, right? It was like, before the Jordans came out in every different color, you're like, oh, somebody dropped it? Oh, that's fire, boom, okay, I wanna get them. Now Jordans are every fucking color. It's like, oh, they're doing a new release. They don't fuck about a new release. Off-Whites is just that shit, right? So you need some exclusivity. They put out 100 different specials from these strangers. Now they're not as special because everybody has one, right? And now you have an hour of content from a stranger. I'm not giving a stranger an hour. I'm sorry, there's 5 people that get an hour. Rock, Chappelle, Louis maybe not anymore, Cat, you know, Chris D'Elia's massive, right? Like, these guys will get an hour of people's attention but nobody else, right? So it's like, what I did is I just made it digestible and you end up watching longer.
And then the pandemic happened, and then he was able to capitalize. I mean, even before then, right? He was on Guy Code. Like, I didn't even know that was him. Like, to see the progression over somebody's career over time and then see where they are now is very insightful. It gives you hope that you're going to get to that level at some point. And not everybody that starts comedy is going to get to a high level. That's just factual. But watching Schulz go from just crowd work to the show that he had on Netflix when it was, during the pandemic, that was really late night-esque. Then to travel the country, take clips from all of the things, especially the topical things. I noticed that he did that. And this was before Josh Johnson, because Josh is doing a whole hour on those things, and kudos to him, because that's a great thing to do. It's topical. It drives the algorithm. But watching Schulz change from being a shock value comic to now turning into a storytelling comic, it makes me realize that he really does want to be one of the top comedians. I mean, he said that too. He's like, I'm going after Chappelle. I want to be one of the best. And that's dope. I don't really care about being the best. I just care about doing something that I am passionate about and being able to create a living while doing it. But watching Schulz from the podcast, he pulls from Charlemagne's group because he does Flagrant, and then not Flagrant, it's Brilliant Idiots. Then he has Flagrant, where he talks with a bunch of I don't even know if they're comedians. I know that they like Kosh is his name, and he's but he has another pod, so he's on the internet consistently. So many different ways and so many different subjects that they talk about. Sometimes they talk about the same subject with different opinions on different shows. But to see now the route that he's taking, because he was so anti-Hollywood, like they're not working with me, then fuck it, I'm gonna do my own. Made the big controversy over Netflix, or the major companies didn't want to buy my Netflix special or my special because some of the words they wanted me to take out. So I'm anti this, I'm anti. That's dope. That was cool. And I noticed that that's what Ryan Davis is doing right now. Kind of the same concept, but not necessarily with the jokes wanting to be removed. More so just like not being accepted by Hollywood. And that was a play. Like for Schulz to be like, they didn't want it, so I'm going to do it for myself. And then a year or two later to be on Netflix, I think, of course, it was planned. And I believe that as a comedian, you got to find different ways to manipulate the system to get to where you want to go. And I'm learning, right? Like watching Ali Sadiq, he's the best storyteller in the game. Like Bird is cool, and I think my vision of comedy changes over the years. Because I really like Schulz. I really enjoyed what he did. And the special was refreshing because it was something different. So he shows that he can, if he was a boxer and he was always punching with the right, he showed that he can lead with his left. He was Terrence Crawford in it. You know what I mean? Like he was able to switch it up and do something, but also still keep it true to himself. And that's inspiring, man, because I started off thinking like shock value jokes is the way I want to be, and being misogynistic in my jokes and talking about how guys really want to talk around females but can't because of the way that they'll be branded. And now I've transformed my stand-up into doing more stories and trying to figure out how to, like, I have small stories. They're like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and I'm learning how to make an entire set out of it. I was with Rodney Perry 2 weeks ago, and he just said to me, like, that's it works for you. You're a likable guy. You're interesting, and people want to hear what you have to say. So dive into being a dad. Dive into why you became a single dad. Dive into the relationships you have with your children. And that was insightful because I was like, you know what? That's material upon material. And then I can always go back into what happened with me as a child and why I am the way I am and why I feel the way I feel. So to watch Schulz go from shock value to storytelling, it just shows that he sees the big picture. He's like, okay, I can't always, unless this is what I want to be, right? If I want to be a shock value comic forever, this is the road that I need to take. Or if I want to be able to be in that elite status, I want to be able to get these deals. I want to be able to do late night TV. I want to be able to, like, you have to have a certain image. And I think he's turning the tide, right? Because watching the podcast, there used to be comedians on there. Now it's a lot of political figures or a lot of free thinkers, right? And they're not necessarily a comedy podcast anymore. And I think that's done purposely. He was on, Schulz was on Ari Shafir's podcast, and he was talking about how he wants to be able to help lift up comics from New York and help them, get over the hump, following a la Nate Bargatze. And I can't wait to see that happen. I think that there should be more. Like, we got to be the change that we want to see. Like, back in the day, it said it was difficult for comedians to get that opportunity, to get the exposure. And it was a lot of gatekeeping. So be the change you want. And I mean, some of the older black comics are like, yo, I had to grind. I had to hustle. I had to fight. I didn't have nobody opening doors, so I'm not going to open doors for you. And that's just not the way you live life. Like, you would, if you have an opportunity to give your kids a leg up, would you give your kids a leg up? And I know you're going to be like, but that's my children. That doesn't matter. You're paying it forward for somebody that came behind you. You want to make it easier for those that come behind you. And Schulz said he wants to do that. So, I mean, that remains to be seen. Maybe he was, just saying that for the sake of saying that. But hopefully he does that for New York comics, because obviously he has a voice in comedy. But watching what he's done, I'm trying to take all of the things that I think that work for other people that are more successful and try to implicate it into what I do. I've only been doing comedy 7 years. Seven in July, so 6. And I know they say, this is what they say, 10 years, then you can finally get your break, or you finally figure out what your identity is, all of that. And it is not easy in this business. You get opportunities. You're going to have people that look out for you. And if you do well, you get more opportunities. But you got to find your style. And to watch, like I said, to see shock value to family oriented in a matter of 5 years or 4 years, noticing that there has to be a change, was very refreshing. But I think that you can still be true to your original self and add those adjustments for you to be able to get to that next level. I think Schulz is really funny, man. But I also think that sometimes it comes off as low-hanging fruit. And I mean, if you look at some of the spheres, and if you know what I mean when I say some of the spheres, it's a lot of low-hanging fruit. And if that's what the people want, then that's what they're going to give you. But I like more intelligent comedy. I like more thought-provoking comedy. I like more relatability within my comedy. And that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to the point where the jokes that I provide for the audience, I want somebody to be like, my dad did that. Or my son is just like that. I want to be able to have that. Like for the weekend that I did at Cap City, I had not comedians. For the weekend that I did at Cap City, I had audience members leaving saying, hey man, it's gonna be tough raising that daughter. You just gotta stay on her. You gotta have a great relationship with her. Like to have people from the audience come out and give me praise on doing a good job, and also giving me pointers on some of the subjects that I talk about, that tells me it resonated with the crowd. For me to go, I got food in my teeth. for me, for me to go from having the ladies against me because of the subject matter that I would like to talk about, because I like Corey Holcomb. I like to talk about how women get over on things. But if you're in a room full of women at a comedy show, last thing you want to do is piss them off because they're not going to give you any laughs. But if you go in there talking about how you're a girl dad and how you love your daughter and you're trying to help maneuver her to become a young lady in this world of craziness, they eat that shit up. So I'm learning how to figure it out myself. And I will continue to learn from people like Schulz and see how to maneuver in this business in order to get to that next level. What do y'all think? Put it down in the comments. How do you feel about the transition of what Schulz has done? Do you think that it's good for comedy? Do you think it's bad for comedy? Do you think it's good for his image? Do you think that he can change his image? You know, I thought the ending of his special with all that information, videos of him and his wife and the pregnancy and stuff, I thought that was beautiful. I really did. And, you know, to be able to have a bird's eye view into somebody else's life outside of just doing stand-up, I think is dope. People want to know what you're about. They want to know the behind the scenes of your life. All right, man. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. I'm going to be doing way more of these, not necessarily reactions, but my thoughts on certain things about comedy, because I'm trying to build my audience as well as anyone else, right? And I don't want it to be boring. I don't want it to be biased, but it's my thoughts. All right, man. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.